Okay. If you're a tattoo artist or a PMU specialist in Europe, you're going to want to listen up. A massive EU regulation is about to change the way you work, and we need to talk about it. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what's changing, what you need to do like right now to stay compliant, and how to protect your business. Let's jump right in.
6 weeks. Seriously, that's it. That is the entire window you have to get your studio compliant with a major new EU regulation. We are talking about a hard deadline of May 1st, 2026. This isn't a drill, it's a real immediate call to action for you and your studio. So here's the million-dollar question, right? Do you actually know if your inks, your pigments, even your jewelry are compliant with this brand new commission regulation, 2026-78? Because I'll tell you what, after May 1st, saying I didn't know just isn't going to cut it. So where is all this coming from? Well, it's part of a bigger push from the EU to protect consumers from chemicals they see as potentially harmful. And yeah, it covers a whole range of cosmetic products, but for our industry, for the body art world, the changes are huge. At the very heart of this regulation is a crackdown on something called CMR substances. Now, to put it simply, these are chemicals that have been linked to some serious stuff. We're talking cancer, genetic mutations, and reproductive issues. So the EU is taking a much, much stricter approach. And that's having a massive ripple effect on us. All right, so let's get down to it. What should you actually be looking for on your supply shelf? The regulation targets a few specific substances, but there's one in particular that's causing a major, major disruption. Let's break down the list. You know, a bunch of preservatives you see all the time in tattooings are now getting restricted. We're talking about things like paraboric acid, hexylsalicylate, and O-phenylphenol. But honestly, the real game changer here, the one causing all the chaos, is the new rule on silver. This is the one that's giving artists and suppliers the biggest headaches. Yeah, this is the big one. This is what's really shaking things up. For years, silver was pretty much seen as low risk, right? Well, the EU has just totally flipped the script and changed its classification completely. And this has huge implications for certain gray washes, white inks, and yeah, even some permanent makeup pigments. Okay, take a look at this. It really breaks down the new rules, and as you can see, the EU is getting super specific here. They're outright banning silver in its massive, powder, and nano forms. The only type of silver that's still on the table is micron-sized, and even that comes with some really strict conditions. So you're probably asking, why all the fuss about silver all of a sudden? Well, it's because the EU's top scientists have officially reclassified it as a reproductive toxin. Basically, that's a sciencey way of saying there's evidence it can harm fertility or an unborn child. So this isn't just some random bureaucratic decision. It's based on a really serious scientific assessment. Okay, I know that's a lot to take in and it's not great news, but don't panic just yet. There is still time to get your studio compliant, but you have got to act fast. So in this next part, we're going to walk you through a step-by-step plan to get you ready for that May 1st deadline. Think of your plan in two big phases. The first is all about gathering information. By April 1st, you need to have a complete inventory of every ink and all your jewelry, and you have to have the updated safety data sheets from your suppliers. Then, phase 2 is all about action. By May 1st, all non-compliant products need to be out of your studio, and all your paperwork has to be updated. All right, let's make this super practical. This isn't just a timeline, this is your to-do list. Number 1, get on the phone, get on email, and get updated safety data sheets from every single supplier. 2, audit your jewelry certificates. 3, and this is absolutely non-negotiable, physically separate any non-compliant stock. Then, update your client forms, and maybe most importantly, make sure your entire team knows what's going on. Okay, so what if you just ignore all this? What's the worst that could happen? Well, the consequences are serious, and they could literally put you out of business. In this last section, we're going to break down the 3 biggest risks you're facing if you don't comply. And believe me, the risks are no joke. We're talking about 3 major ways your business could be toast overnight. First, you could get slammed with heavy fines from your local health department. Second, you could get sued by a client who has a reaction to a banned ink. And third, your insurance company could just refuse to cover you, leaving you on the hook for absolutely everything. You know, one of the sources for this explainer put it perfectly, and I think it really hits home. This is not a distant regulatory abstraction. It's a 6-week operational mandate. That's a formal way of saying this is happening right now, and you need to deal with it today, not tomorrow. Look, if there's only one thing you remember from all of this, let it be this. You must verify everything. Do not rely on a brand's reputation or what you've been using for years. You need current, official documentation for every single product you use. Trust the paperwork, not the marketing. May 1st is a hard stop. There are no extensions.
So, we're going to leave you with this question. We've laid out the problem and the steps to fix it. The clock is seriously ticking. Now that you know all this, what is the very first thing you are going to do when you walk back into your studio to make sure you're ready for May 1st?